One of the very strong suits of managed methods is that we are providing constant visibility into your Google Workspace, Microsoft 365 environments. Obviously, Tyler, Chris, both of you know this platform very well. But for those that don't, Charles, let's maybe just showcase. We're not going to get into a full demonstration of the full platform. Folks, if you'd like to do that, feel free to reach out to Managed Methods. Go to our website, managedmethods.com. You can get a demonstration or a free trial. But what we'll do today is just focus on the third-party app control piece. Go ahead, Charles.
Absolutely. So started off right away here on the Managed Methods apps tab. We're over here in the Google Workspace environment. For look and flow wise, both Google and Microsoft will be pretty similar in what you'll see between the two. Thing that always catches people's eyes are these graphs here at the top. So one of the things that the platform does is we provide categorization of applications. So this is something we do on Managed Methods, and it's a way that helps to sort the applications because there's a lot of applications out there, and it can get really messy to try to go through applications one by one or try to figure out, okay, what are some things I'm concerned about? So one of the things that both Tyler and Chris mentioned there are the issues around applications like games or social media applications or things like that. So we have these pre-built categories that are ready to go to let you dive through those categories here. So I'll use social here as just an example. You'll also see we've got more concerning things like explicit or VPN applications as well. So something like Reddit here is very, very common to see. With that, you'll get presented with that category type. We'll also provide you quickly with what permissions the application has as well too. So what scopes did the application actually have get authorized into? So something like Reddit may not have the most powerful permissions in the world, but it's still good to go through these and figure out what information is being granted. We also do a risk score as well too. So we'll categorize those risks or those applications with a risk score, and that can be based on 4 factors here. Factor 1 is, does the application have admin level access? Factor 2 will be, does the application is the application sanctioned or not? So you have the ability to come in here and tag applications as things you've vetted or trusted or known versus not there. And then we also have, does write permission factor in there? And then lastly is, what's the overall sanction percentage? So this is actually drawing from the Managed Methods user base as a whole. So as customers of Managed Methods sanction applications, approve those applications, say, yep, this is something we're good with here, that will change that sanction percentage as well. So that's how we calculate that number there. You're also able to quickly see who's using the application. I think this is extremely valuable. Probably one of my favorite features is being able to quickly see who's using that application, know right away, okay, who's actually our problem user here? Is it a student? Is it a staff member? Do we have an issue where it's a combination of both students and staff on this application? One that comes to mind right away is TikTok. It's very, very popular for both staff and students, where they'll both sign in with their school account for whatever reason and decide, yep, I want to go ahead and use that. So that's where you can use categories like social to track things down, look at the applications that way. You can't even click into the application itself as well too, and we'll even a lot of times provide a description of what that application is. So a hyperlink back to Google, back to wherever the application may have originated from. But very important there as well too is we have the ability to go through and break the connection. So that OAuth token connection can be revoked. That'll be a one-off breaking of that OAuth token permission, but then we can continuously break that moving forward via policy. Especially for the staff side, policies can be a really good way to lock things down on your staff side, especially if there's categories you don't want your staff using. Where, generally speaking, we don't need our staff using shopping applications or maybe social or things like that. But you want to leave other categories like education or tools or things like that a little bit more open, where you can have that vetting process. So that can certainly help as well too. Certainly there can be exceptions to the rule, but a lot of times that's a good way where you can get rid of applications that way. The other thing we'll also identify application-wise is access levels, and these are trying to pull through some of those applications with the more powerful permissions into in this case, the Google Workspace environment. Email especially, though files is also kind of a secondary one, is where we see a lot of those applications end up that have a lot of powerful permissions. Especially something like a racket and cashback shopping application. This is just an example here. This actually has access into people's email accounts, and that's something where, again, it doesn't make a ton of sense usually for people to be giving away this level of access. And again, that's where the vetting process is so important in figuring out, what do you have out there? Does this make sense to actually be out there in the first place? Do we want our staff or students giving away this kind of permission? And there's a lot of these applications that want probably a lot more access than I think people realize when they first just click that single sign-on button with Google. They run across and they think that's going to be great, or they just don't think about it. And then also very important are the policies themselves, and we also do have that here as well, where we'll be able to go through those various applications and get things set up that way as well. Too, there we can kind of go through and get things set up where the platform can take some automatic action on your behalf as well. And this is really important because this is what will keep things from not just being revoked the one time, but continuously moving forward there. So we've got some out of the box policies that are ready to go, but these can always be expanded upon. So there's certain categories like things like VPN or explicit apps where district approval, you're never going to probably approve a VPN or an explicit application. I'd be pretty shocked if that ever happened. And then we have some policies like this one here that are looking more at the applications that have more high level access into areas like email here. So this is where you can get some different policies set up that way as well. And once those policies are set, you can set it to revoke access there and go ahead and break the OAuth token connection. It'll go ahead and continuously do that moving forward there. There's also an option to warn users too. We've also seen that used in conjunction sometimes with that vetting process or things like that. Or even if you revoke access, you could also notify the user and have the message redirect to the form that says, hey, here's how you vet the application if you want to request access to this. So that can be really helpful as well too, to train the users on that end there. And then you can also go ahead and certainly create your own policies too. And that can be done in a number of different ways based on things like the name of the application even, or down to the broader categories or permission types the application has. And policies can also be limited out to organizations or specific users or groups too. So all that together ties things together. And then a lot of times, as Chris mentioned, a lot of times it'll be a situation where you're working in both the Google Admin Console and in managed methods to help narrow down what you're looking at, help figure out what's out there, and then make those decisions on keeping your environment more secure and getting rid of things that just don't belong there in the first place.
And of course, oh, go ahead, Charles.
Sorry. Final thing I'll mention here, one thing I did forget to mention is if you do run across an application as well, and this has been very handy for applications with lots of users, we also have ways to export those users out. I think that's really valuable as well too, so you get an idea of who's actually using this application. So sorry, go ahead, David, there.
No, that's you kind of hit on it, because information sharing and of course, Tyler and Chris, I know that you're staying in tune with this, and I think many of our audience, this is why it's such a popular topic too, is for the Google users out there. Obviously, Google had announced that a while back that there was going to be some new rules put in place, and Google Workspace for Education admins have until October 23rd to review and confirm settings for third-party apps for the users designated as under 18. With the age-based access settings. And so one of the questions from the audience came up to, can we use managed methods to go approve and or revoke those apps? And yes, Charles, I think you just kind of showed some examples of that. But just as a public service announcement, folks, be sure to go to Google's website, Google's blog. If you're not aware of these things, let us know. We can point you in the right direction, or Chris or Tyler, I'm sure, can point you in the right direction. But there is rules are changing come end of October 23rd. With that said, why don't we just jump back? We wanted to give you a quick taste. I know some people have asked questions. How can I get access to managed methods? You can visit our website at managedmethods.com. Of course, when we send out a copy of the webinar itself, everyone will receive access, but you can go to managedmethods.com. You can sign up for a demonstration where you can get a private audience with Charles or another member of our product special team, or you can get a free trial.